Hey guys, it's Shredder here with Exus, bringing you another OUTERPLANE video. Today we're going to take a first look at the new guild raid that came out today. And right away, I'm sorry for all the red dots on screen if that's triggering anyone. I've been hard at work this morning. If you like what you see here today, drop a like, subscribe, join us in the community Discord channel, follow our sister channel. We've made Exus Media. It's got coverage for other gadget games they're playing in upcoming news and events. So without further ado, let's take a quick look. Hopefully we can get you a few teams to get you going, and I'll explain to you the mechanics on the mini bosses and the main boss, just to help you out. So hopefully we can get you guys up and running. Trying to get something out nice and early today. Do take it with a grain of salt. There is more testing that's going to need to be done on the main boss, particularly when we unlock more of these buffs and debuffs for point modifiers. But at least to get started and get you going with the mini bosses, we can do that easily enough. So first one is the Ava Boss. So for this boss rather, it's weak to fire. They're all actually weak to fire. So it's weak to fire. Also takes increased damage from mages. In terms of immunity, it looks like they really tried to cut back on, people doing millions and millions of damage using damage percent modifiers. So the fixed damage is blocked, the curse is blocked. So this would be, primarily your Marion teams and your Laplace, Demiurge, Stella, and Beth teams. So they really tried to cut that back. They've also put defense down on this immunity list. So they really don't want us to be pumping out big damage numbers. In terms of the skill, so this boss, it summons the oldest relic, which is basically just another unit. You'll see when we go in there. I think it's Adelaide maybe is the model. So this other unit takes all the damage for the boss. This is the mechanic here, and it's got a couple of skills which stun and defense down you and do annoying stuff. Yes, so we got that one, and the last skill here. So on the Adelaide, on the other unit, if you hit it with a non-critical, it's going to lower the cooldown of Knight of the Opera. Knight of the Opera is in these skills here. It's a skill that stuns you. So it's not really nice. You don't want to be non-critting the boss, or you're going to be getting stunned repeatedly by the Adelaide, the mini boss that's in here, which is quite annoying. So in terms of how they want you to fight it, they kind of pigeonhole you a little bit. They want you to be doing crits, so it's going to be best to use Valentine. They want you to be using fire, so it's best to be using air and whoever else. Now it does say in there that it's immune to defense down, however, which is actually not. I don't know if it's an error on their part, but the boss definitely still takes the debuff, and it definitely still increases the damage. So Valentine, Eternal, and Air are all going to be like the best to go here. Demiurge Stella, you don't need Demiurge Stella. She just does nice damage without requiring you to really take turns on her. So she's there, purely for that. I would definitely not put her in the chain spot because it's not going to do anything. The boss is immune to the fixed damage. So, if you don't have all these units, Valentine is really good, Eternal is really good. You could substitute the other two damage deals for whatever you want. But those two definitely are going to be really important here. So I'll just show you here in the practice battle quickly, just so you can see that the boss does take the defense down. It does do extra damage. Quickly. So we can see 6635 will land a defense down. I think my air is naked at the moment, but that's fine. So 6635, and yes, you can see they both got the debuff on them. And 8036. So there you go. Confirmation the defense down does work. I don't know if it's bugged or not, but whatever, it is what it is. But it's a pretty straightforward fight. You can slow them both, obviously, and this is the purple one. This is the one that is going to do the stun skill. Looks like this. This is the one, and this is the skill that's going to reduce on cooldown. I hit a couple of misses. That's nice. This is the one that's going to reduce on cooldown if you non-crit the boss. So I mean, Demiurge Stella is nice here as well, because you're going to get the revenge procs when she tries to stun, and Demiurge Stella obviously is immune to stun. So you could also use the normal Stella here It's a demi-edge will work similarly, or I mean you can use anything, it's just free damage basically. So that's this mini boss, pretty straightforward. You know, do crits, do chains, just pump out as much damage as you can. Okay, so yeah, Air, Valentine, Eternal, last pick with Demi-Edge Stellar is a flex pick, you can put whatever you want there. And if you have to, you could take Air out and use another damage dealer. The second boss, he's yeah, you know, like he's a little bit more annoying, but this is gonna be your standard fixed damage team comps going into this boss. So looking at the skills quickly, he is going to stun your frontline unit if it's a non-defender. So we should look at the rest of the kit and then we'll talk about it. His next skill attacks all enemies and burns for 3 turns. So this burn actually hurts a lot. It's really annoying. Next skill, it detonates burn stacks. Next skill here, this is just, you know, again, weak to fire units and gives increased speed to healers. Alright. Last skill does burn on all enemies 3 turns at the start of the turn. So like you're going to be eating a lot of burns basically. So best person to bring here is going to be Tio. She's going to auto cleanse them. This is you probably don't want to run her super fast here. She's going to get bonus speed already, and you don't want her to be eating up all the turns that you can do damage in. You also don't want her to get stunned. So this is really going to be the resilience angle. So if you guys ever kept one of these resilience ones, oh, that's a nice little bug. We got some Korean text. If you ever kept one of these resilience necks, this is a really good time to use it. Okay, so if you put her in the front line, she's going to take the hit. She's going to have plenty of resilience to not get stunned. This boss effectiveness is very low, although this is only at stage 2. But resilience here is going to be really good. It's going to let you keep auto cleansing your units. It's going to eat up that stun. And again, you can use the fixed damage. So I've got some gear on these, I think. Yeah, cool. So similar to the other mini bosses, you can use all those fixed damage ones. Are going to be good. So your Beths, your Eliza combo, yeah, whatever you've got with a Laplace or a Demi-Edge Stellar doing chain comps are going to be fine. I really like this combo with the Beth Eliza. Just, I don't know, it's just easy to execute. If you did the last event as well, that summer one, actually gave a really nice Eliza weapon that gives her even more bleed procs. So yeah, that was a really nice pickup. It's only 5-star, but it just helps you with the uptime quite a lot. So you'll see here in a minute, this boss is just gonna like lay down a bunch of burns. Okay, so you know, if you try to run this without a healer and especially without a Tio, you're gonna have a lot more trouble. But yes, so percentage-based damage is gonna do a lot, and as these scale to the later stages, it's gonna do even more. So this one you'll still be able to do millions of damage on with these fixed percent damage teams. So in terms of recommended units for this particular mini boss, it's going to be either Tio, Eliza, Beth. This is like probably the harder comp to make, or the other much more free to play friendly is just going to be your other standard comp, which is a curse comp with a Tio and a Marion. The boss doesn't do much damage at all besides burns, so you're pretty safe to just bring a Tio and a Marion and do really well there. So that's pretty much this boss. There's not really a lot else to say. Just run your Tio, put a resilient snack on so it doesn't get stunned. She'll do the job really well, and then, you know, whatever fixed damage you can bring. So on to the main event. So I've got a couple of teams I've built that, I mean, they clear the boss quite easily as is without any of these debuffs, which, you know, unfortunately I don't have a lot to play around with and show you, but we'll take a look at the boss. I'll show you the 2 comps I've got that are going to work, at least for now, and then we'll try to get out some more updated ones a little bit later on. So in terms of skills, boss has got an attack which hits the front line, and if hitting a non-defender, it's going to give himself evasion up. Kind of annoying. Next skill gives a defense up for 5 turns. These are all long 5 turns as well. 5 turns. So grants debuff up on this one, defense up on this turn. If the caster has increased attack, it's going to increase the buff durations by a turn. Next one, attacks everyone, grants attack up for 5 turns. If he has defense up, grants an extra turn. So you can see where he's going. All the skills basically give him buffs, and in turn kind of cascade buffs if you haven't removed them. The next skill, and this one is annoying, but there's a strat for it. If the boss evades, it doesn't take any weakness gauge damage and recovers weakness gauge. Also inflicts accuracy down on water and earth enemies. This is an irremovable buff. This part here is actually, I believe this is a typo. It says it's weak against earth units when it should read fire units. So I'm 99% sure this is a typo and it should read fire instead of earth. Final skill, this is an annoying one, passive, gets a barrier at the end of every turn. And the longer the fight goes for, the barriers get stronger. So basically you can see from the skills here, a lot of it is about either blocking or removing debuffs. Buffs. Gosh. So you want to be able to remove the barrier and you want to be able to remove the buffs that it's putting so it doesn't cascade more buffs and take extra turns. So it's pretty straightforward in that way. The speed is quite low. This is on stage 3. So it's not going to be too hard to get around. So first team comp, again, is pretty standard. The same use on the other boss. It's your fire DPS plus Demiurge Stellar. We will go in and I'll show you. So let me put some gear on this guy. That one. I think he's got gear as well. He's got gear. He's got gear. So yeah, your standard fire damage with Demiurge Stellar. You know, we're gonna go for chains. We're gonna burst the boss down. You know, the really nice thing here, while the boss does have immunity, so I should have shown that immunity to defense down and speed down, as well as curse. It doesn't have immunity to fixed damage, and you know, essentially you're going to bring Eternal in just to be able to strip those buffs off. She still does respectable damage, but you really want to be able to remove those debuffs, especially if you're using some of these later buffs. I like, you know, you can get point increases for giving the barrier extra strength, you know, effectiveness down and resilience up, and also so like being able to strip those buffs is going to be really important. The Demiurge Stellar is not required at all for this. You'll see the damage output is like, the boss is really like pretty weak. Demiurge Stellar is not required for this. You could use another fire damage DPS, so Iris, Fenrir, whatever you have built. Demiurge Stellar will be the most damage, but you know, again, totally not required. So I will go in and I'll show you a practice run real quick on this, and it's, you know, it's pretty easy to see how it goes. Loading. But yeah, I mean, this boss, honestly, it feels like probably the weakest one we've had so far. It kind of just falls over and dies without doing much, especially when you've got buff stripping units. So I mean, with this team, it's super easy. So yeah, we'll go about halfway through, and then I'll show you the other team. Okay, so you know, probably you just hold your buff strip. Eternal, depends on how much damage you've got on your Eternal. If you've got the EE on, you know, you might not want to use the ulti into the S1 if you know, you don't have enough damage on it. You could just take it off so you don't waste turns, but you know, she does a reasonable amount of damage. But you can see, like, I've had a few turns and the boss is just melting. So yeah, essentially the strat here is have buff strip or buff block. Okay, we're gonna strip this. Do as much damage and chain and break the boss. So like, we're ready for a chain here. But you know, of course, this is going to get harder when you get more debuffs and things to put, and you can buff the boss more for more points. So probably room for improvement later when we get there. I'm not going to go any further. You can see how it's going, guys. This is 10 turns in. The boss has got 1/3 of his health bar left. It's just going to keep rolling like this. So first team will be easy. Second team, a little more wiggle room for creativity and change in the future, for sure. The team that I've tried that's done quite reasonably well in testing is a bleed-based team Where did I put it? Somewhere here. This one. So, if you remember, the boss says reduced accuracy irremovable on water and earth enemies. However, as you will see, don't ask me why this works, but when you use your Cindy and you apply accuracy up buff, it seems to just completely remove that irremovable buff. So it seems there's at least one good way around it, because I know for me sitting here and seeing miss would just totally tilt the shit out of me. So put accuracy up buff and it's gone. Hooray. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not, I don't know. So essentially with this team, we're just going to be laying bleeds and poisons and just whittling the boss down. So this still kills it within about, I think I did 25 turns left. The good thing about using the Beth and Eliza, if you have it, is you still have access to a buff strip as well. So buff strip is like pretty few and far between. You could also use like, you know, just the standard Stella here as well would strip the buff. But yes, that's essentially it. You're going to get rid of that accuracy down. You're going to do some fixed damage. You know, you can just put your Beth can have, you know, normal damage gear on, like put your Noah gear or your Rin gear or whatever. I think actually my Beth is naked at the moment. I think I just took the gear off her before. But yeah, even like the barriers right now are pretty weak. Yeah, so she's naked at the moment. But the fixed damage is good. So anyway, this is the second team that I've tried that clears it pretty well without the debuffs on it. You could definitely use other units. You could just, you know, use the Cindy and whatever damage you have that you can just burst through it with. I don't think there's a lot of other really accessible buff strippers out there. I'm sure Alice would work quite well. Oh, actually, is the boss immune to? The boss might be immune to unbuffable. Sorry, I apologize. So in terms of buff strippers, the only ones I can think of at the moment is Eliza and regular Stella. Although I'm sure there are some others. But yes, this team works quite well if you gear them appropriately, doing fixed % damage. So that would be my other suggestion. So team 1, Air, Valentine, Eternal, plus whatever your best damage dealer is, and Demiurge Stella will do the best. Second team, Cindy, Notia, Eliza, and Beth is what I've found to work the best. Yeah, so we'll get back to you again in a couple of days after we've cleared the mini bosses out and had more time to test, but that's at least a few teams for each boss to get you rolling and get you started. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content today. I hope it's helped. And if you want to see more, you know, come back and check us out again. Hop on the Discord, check our other channel out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.